Hey, what's up everyone? All right, so my name is Brandon. I'm the founder, visionary, and strategist for NOVAEO. And in this video, I'm going to teach you about the NOVAEO Network. Now, what is the NOVAEO Network? The best way to describe this is to give you a little story about someone from my business network. His name is Jeff, and during the pandemic, his primary means of business is he owns a pretty big construction company. And during the pandemic, state of California shut down all of his construction sites. And so he was like, his operating costs for those construction sites was somewhere around like $70,000 a month. And that was after stripping everything down to have a closed site. So being the successful, very intelligent, very hardworking businessman that he is, he scrambled and went into good old businessman mode, which is, what is the opportunity that is in front of us? So during the pandemic, what was it that people were in high demand for? It was masks, sanitizer, aloe, these kinds of things. So what he did is, in a very old school way, he's definitely an older guy, in an old school fashion, he starts up a Rolodex, grabs a pen, grabs a big sheet of paper, and starts contacting people from his network and people that he found in websites. Anyone that is in some way, shape, or form related to pandemic needs, which is pretty robust, and I'm going to get there, painting that really big picture. So let me kick off with starting with his, as far as I know, his most successful transaction. Because ultimately what this NOVAEO network is, it's personified by Jeff. It is putting yourself, creating a network around you and putting yourself in the middle, identifying with every organization or every person, what is it that you purchase? What is it that you sell? And you build this network based on exactly that. What do you purchase? What do you sell? And, some more detailed questions, of course, like what kind of volume do you do and these kinds of things. But the real general idea here is, what do you purchase? What do you sell? So his big transaction was he profited $1 million by himself by middlemaning a Chinese mask manufacturer with a hospital out somewhere in the East Coast that needed exactly 1 million K95 masks. So he bought those masks from the manufacturer at $6 a mask, sold them to the hospital at $7 a mask, never had to put any of his own money at risk. First, he collected payment from the hospital, then he sent it to the Chinese manufacturer, never saw the product, didn't deal with the logistics, anything. He just literally middlemaned what was ultimately a $7 million purchase by the hospital, with a $6 million purchase that he had to make to the manufacturer, and voila, $1 million right there in one transaction. What he additionally did in 1 month's time is he created a manufacturing and supply agreement from a manufacturing facility in Mexico that he had loose connections with to Kroger, the grocery store chain in the US, maybe they're international as well, which Kroger's actually a lot bigger than you might think. There's the Kroger branded grocery stores, but then there's also tons of other branded grocery stores as well. So he set up initially his own brand of sanitizer that the manufacturer in Mexico created, did the manufacturing for, and he orchestrated a pretty large purchase order to Kroger. Then he pivoted away from his own brand and helped Kroger set up with their own private label sanitizer, and created the supply contract between Kroger and the Mexican manufacturer. And that agreement, as far as I know, is still in effect today. So he probably made significantly more than $1 million over the course of this contractual agreement. So he was doing this kind of stuff. What do you buy? What do you sell across the board? He was supplying bulk alcohol to grocery stores that needed like drums or totes of alcohol so that they can like use those power washer sprayers and go up and down the hallways and get in the doors and all that stuff. He, I forget what he was buying and selling us. Yeah, I kind of forget. We were doing something similar, but more on a consumer scale. He was really working at a bigger picture, but he did consumer shit too. But so that's the gist of the NOVAEO Network. Is we look at, so the way we're going to kick this off is we look at what is NOVAEO, all of our product brands, our manufacturing facility, everything that NOVAEO has within its ecosystem. What is it that we're buying? What is it that we're selling? So as of right now, we pretty much only sell to consumers. But we are capable of supplying more than just consumers, businesses, because we do our own manufacturing. So we purchase bulk materials that could then be broken down and sold in bulk materials to other businesses. So for example, we could have, let's say, let's see if I can draw some stuff. Okay, we might have, this is better. So one of our biggest raw materials that we purchase is monk fruit powder. It's a natural sweetener. So we have this supplier. That kind of sucks. We have this monk fruit powder supplier that sends material to our warehouse, monk fruit powder to our warehouse, that we then manufacture into consumer sizes and sell to a consumer. But this supplier doesn't only supply monk fruit. They specialize in all kinds of natural sweeteners, but in general have probably around a product offering of around like 50 to 100 products. So one of those products, I'm going to start speaking hypothetically now, might be erythritol. So even though we don't use erythritol, these guys can still supply it, which means these guys are in our NOVAEO network. They sell erythritol, so that means we want to look for people that buy erythritol, because then we can connect these people that buy erythritol to our supplier for monk fruit, and literally all we do is middleman the transaction through supply contracts. So the erythritol would actually ship directly to these guys. And we middleman that transaction just like how Jeff middleman the masks to the hospital. Now these guys using erythritol, what are they selling? Maybe they're making, let's say, energy drinks, which also starts with an E, so that works out perfectly. Well, now we can look in our network for anyone that might be buying energy drinks. Well, one of our product brands, Triactive, our natural cosmetic company or brand, I'm running out of shapes. These guys, this brand of ours, has a relationship with Bristol Farms and Lazy Acres. Actually, through Jeff. Through Jeff, we have a relationship with Bristol Farms and Lazy Acres, which is They have around like 80 something grocery stores in the US. And last I heard, Samsung, the Korean tech company, has they own a massive grocery store chain out in Korea and I think all over the world that is working on a deal. Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about this, fuck it, whatever. Is working on a deal to buy Bristol Farms and Lazy Acres and then expand from 80 grocery stores to over 1,000 grocery stores in the US alone. That's a little side note. Point is that relationship that Triactive now has their foot in the door with, it's a small relationship for Triactive. We probably do like a couple grand a month, if that, in retail. But maybe they want to buy energy drinks. So this relationship, Lazy Acres, that Triactive has can now be connected to these guys. So that these guys are now selling their energy drinks to Lazy Acres. So without going too nuts here, the idea here is if you look at the material, the movement of materials, both finished goods and like parts, bill of materials type stuff, and we just constantly build out this network with the question of what are you buying, what are you selling? And we will use means of pretty advanced technology. Maybe I'll do another video on this where we can actually use artificial intelligence in order to do a lot of the lead generation and cold contacting on our behalf, such that one person could actually build a massive, massive network. Now here's where things get really interesting. So initially it's in my mind that we want to build the NOVAEO network from a supply chain perspective, which is the movement of material. But we really don't have to stop there, and we won't stop there. And depending on who joins our NOVAEO network, the management and the coordinating of our NOVAEO network and the building of our NOVAEO network, maybe we expand beyond supply chain sooner than I'm planning, and that's totally fine with me. Now, what am I talking about? Well, this energy drink company, what else do they buy? Not just in terms of material, but they might do marketing funnels. So e-commerce marketing funnels. Maybe they're running social media ads and they're paying an agency to do social media ads on their behalf. So a social media ad to like an online store for consumers to purchase. Well, it's in the NOVAEO's core function, meaning we actually own the function. So we own the warehouse and the manufacturing. We own Triactive. So there's more margin, most likely, whenever we connect entities that we own to other entities. But we can always middleman entities that we don't own as well. So anyway, we own marketing agency. So let's say NOVAEO marketing agency. And now we can connect this energy drink company to the NOVAEO marketing agency. So now it's not only are we connecting the movement of material, but we're also connecting the movement of service. And there's a significant amount of service that in the e-commerce world that NOVAEO already has as its core functionality, but we can forever expand from there. So for example, something that we're working on right now is expansion into Latin America. So we are going to create, this is USA. We are running cost analysis right now and very likely going to create a warehouse in Mexico, where I am right now actually. And the reason for that is because we want to expand our product brands like Triactive into the e-commerce world and the brick and mortar world like Lazy Acres into Latin America, because Colombia, Brazil, big time Brazil, actually even Venezuela, which is kind of weird with all the political shit going on, all these markets are expanding very, very fast. They are expanding massively, significantly faster than the US market. And we want a piece of that, but because a lot of our products have a lot of like legal compliance stuff, because they're like dietary supplements or consumables and shit like that, it's going to be a lot easier for us to break into these markets due to compliance if we actually manufacture directly in Mexico, or basically somewhere in Latin America. So once we have our manufacturing facility in Mexico, now we can actually go not just expanding our own product brands into Mexico, but we can actually go and start talking to our competitors of Triactive and all of our other brands, saying, yo, we can expand you into Mexico. Now, obviously, we're not going to tell them that we're the owners of Triactive, their competitor, because they're not going to want to help us profit in that regard, most likely. But we are representing ourselves as just this manufacturing entity. We have the US arm, and then we're going to have the Mexico arm, and then we're going to start setting up those distribution channels, those like Lazy Acres equivalents across Latin America, and build the e-commerce marketing side in Latin America, because even though platforms like Amazon do extend into these foreign markets, there are much bigger e-commerce platforms such as Mercado Libre that operates in all of those Latin American countries already, but that takes a special skill set and knowledge and compliance that we are in the process of building alongside this, so that not only can we now offer this energy drink brand the ability to market in the US for them, but we can actually then start manufacturing for them in Mexico so that we can expand them to Latin American e-commerce and Latin American brick and mortar. So basically, what we're doing here is, like I keep saying, building this network of what do you buy, what do you sell, and we literally just play connect the dots. And where things get bigger and bigger is, in my example, we're pretty much just we're creating a two-party transaction. But once you start connecting more parties, those deals get bigger and bigger. And that's the NOVAEO Network. Now, a cool word that I've heard for this general role, where it's not really just supply chain, but you're really just like, hey, what do you do and what do you need? I heard that role, someone told me it's called a dream weaver. And that's pretty cool. And that mentality can be applied to really anything in networking. So that's why we're really focused on just calling it the NOVAEO Network. It is building this network of cool people, cool businesses that produce cool materials, that have good culture, good organizational structure, shit that we want to support, because we don't need to work with assholes. We can find enough cool people where we don't have to work with assholes. And we just build this robust network. And so the approach to them is literally, hey, look, what do you buy? What do you sell? I will help you find material. I will help you improve your purchasing terms on the material that you purchase, whether it's getting better pricing, faster lead times, better credit terms, better quality, whatever that is. I will help you find better purchasing terms, and I will help you find more clients or more customers at literally zero expense to you, because all I'm going to be doing is taking some kind of cut on either or both sides of the transaction. But again, nothing out of pocket until I help you profit, until I boost your bottom line. So that's the approach. Pretty sweet. I think that's it. Now, I do want to talk about the technology side, but I'm going to do that in a different video. All right? Sweet. Thanks for watching.